Greetings, seeker of wisdom. Look closely at this world, this bustling forum of voices, each clamoring to be heard. Do you feel it? This ceaseless tide of words washing over us, often drowning out the very essence of understanding. We live in an age, not unlike my own, where the loudest voice often believes itself to be the wisest. But I tell you now, with the weight of empires and the wisdom of solitude, that this is a dangerous delusion. What if I told you that the key to true insight, to forging unshakable bonds, to mastering the tempest of your own soul, lies not in the eloquence of your tongue, but in the profound discipline of your silence? What if the most powerful force you possess is not your ability to speak, but your capacity to truly, deeply listen? Stay with me, for what I am about to share is not merely philosophy, but a foundational truth for navigating the cacophony of human existence. It is a truth that, once embraced, will transform your interactions, elevate your understanding, and bring a tranquility to your spirit that few ever truly discover. My friends, let us delve into this profound paradox, the virtue of listening. Why silence is often stronger than words. We are, by our very nature, creatures of expression. From the moment we draw breath, we seek to articulate our needs, our desires, our observations. This is good, this is human. But in our eagerness to speak, we often neglect a far more vital skill, one that separates the truly wise from the merely eloquent, the art of listening. Consider for a moment the Roman Senate, a place of fervent debate, of grand oratory, where the fate of an empire hung on the weight of words. Yet, even there, the most respected senators were not always those who spoke the most, but those who listened with the keenest ear, who absorbed the arguments of others, weighed them, and then, and only then, offered their considered judgment. For true statesmanship, true leadership, is not about imposing your will through sheer volume, but about understanding the myriad perspectives that comprise the collective good. When we speak, we are, in essence, broadcasting. We are transmitting our own thoughts, our own biases, our own interpretations into the world. And while this has its place, it closes us off to the vast ocean of information and perspective that exists outside ourselves. When we listen, however, we become receivers. We open ourselves to new data, new ideas, new emotions. We allow the world to speak to us, to inform us, to broaden our understanding in ways that our own limited perspective never could. Imagine a physician. Would you trust a physician who, upon your first word of ailment, immediately prescribes a remedy without truly hearing your symptoms, without examining you, without asking probing questions? Of course not. You would deem him reckless, perhaps even dangerous. The same principle applies to all human interaction: to offer advice without understanding, to provide comfort without truly hearing the pain, to build a relationship without genuinely listening to the other's heart. This is not genuine connection. It is merely a performance. The virtue of listening begins with silence, not an empty silence, but a profound, attentive stillness. It is the silence that creates space for the other person to speak without interruption, without judgment, without the pressure of having to fight for airtime. It is in this silence that true vulnerability often emerges. For when we feel truly heard, we are more likely to share the deeper truths within us. Think of the countless misunderstandings that plague our lives, from the simplest domestic squabble to the grandest international conflicts. How many of these could be averted, or at least mitigated, if one side, or even both, simply paused, truly listened, and sought to understand before reacting? Most arguments are not battles of logic, but clashes of unarticulated needs and unheard emotions. The silent listener becomes the bridge over this chasm. Furthermore, true listening is an act of profound empathy. When you listen with your whole being, not just with your ears, but with your eyes, your posture, your very presence. You are communicating a powerful message. I see you. I hear you. You matter. This is a gift beyond measure, for in a world that often feels indifferent, to be truly seen and heard is to be validated, to be respected, to be affirmed in one's very existence. Consider the mentor-disciple relationship, so crucial to the passing of wisdom through generations. The wise mentor does not simply lecture, they listen. They listen to the questions, the doubts, the aspirations of their student. They discern not just the words, but the underlying anxieties, the unspoken fears. And it is through this deep listening that they can tailor their guidance, offering not just generic advice, but wisdom that resonates with the specific needs of the individual. And what of the power of silence within ourselves? In the clamor of external voices, and indeed the constant chatter of our own minds, it is in moments of quietude that we can truly hear our inner wisdom. The Stoics understood this well. We spoke often of the importance of self-reflection, of journaling, of disciplined contemplation. These are not acts of speaking, but acts of internal listening. It is in the stillness that we can examine our prejudices, question our assumptions, and reconnect with our core values. How often do we find ourselves lost in a labyrinth of our own thoughts, unable to find clarity? Yet, when we consciously choose silence, when we quiet the incessant internal dialogue, a path often reveals itself. This is the power of introspection, nurtured by the absence of external and internal noise. It is in this silence that we can truly listen to the voice of reason, the voice of our conscience, the voice of our deepest, most authentic self. Moreover, silence, when used strategically, can be a formidable tool in persuasion and negotiation. Imagine a situation where another person is passionately arguing their point. If you immediately interject, you risk provoking defensiveness, shutting down any chance of genuine dialogue. But if you listen, truly listen, allowing them to fully articulate their position, you gain invaluable insight. You understand their motivations, their fears, their priorities. And armed with this understanding, your eventual words, carefully chosen and delivered, will carry far greater weight and impact. Your response will not be a knee-jerk reaction, but a thoughtful, informed contribution. The orator who knows when to pause, when to allow a moment of silence to emphasize a crucial point, is far more impactful than the one who barrages their audience with an unbroken stream of words. The silence allows the message to land, to resonate, to be absorbed. It gives the audience space to think, to process, to feel. Let us not confuse listening with passive agreement. To listen is not to surrender your own convictions, but to fully comprehend the convictions of others. It is to engage with the world, not just to project yourself upon it. It is an act of strength, not weakness, for it takes immense discipline to hold your tongue when your instinct is to speak, to quiet your own ego in order to make space for another. In my time as emperor, I learned that the most vital information often came not from the grand pronouncements of my advisors, but from the quiet observations of my trusted confidants, from the subtle shifts in the mood of the people, from the unwritten anxieties that permeated the air. To truly govern, one must be attuned to these silent currents, for they often hold more truth than the most eloquent reports. So, how does one cultivate this virtue of listening? It begins with intention. Make a conscious choice to prioritize understanding over being understood. When engaging with another, silence your inner monologue, the voice that is already formulating your rebuttal or your next witty remark. Focus your entire attention on the speaker. Observe their body language, the nuances of their tone, the emotions that flicker across their face. Ask clarifying questions, not to challenge, but to deepen your understanding, and resist the urge to interrupt. Allow for pauses, for reflection, for the other person to gather their thoughts. It is a practice like any other virtue. It requires discipline, patience, and a genuine desire to connect. But the rewards are immeasurable. You will find your relationships deepening, your understanding of the world broadening, and your own internal peace growing more profound. For when you truly listen, you not only learn about others, you learn about yourself. You discover the echoes of humanity within you, and you realize that we are all, in essence, seeking to be heard, to be understood, to be seen. Remember this, then. The tongue may be a sword, but the ear is a shield and a conduit to wisdom. In a world full of noise, dare to embrace the power of silence. In an age of ceaseless speaking, choose the strength of listening. For in that silent receptivity, you will find not weakness, but a profound and enduring power. If these words have resonated with you, if you feel the stirrings of this ancient truth within your soul, then do not let this moment pass. Cultivate this virtue. Begin today. And if you wish to continue this journey of philosophical exploration, to uncover more timeless truths for navigating the complexities of modern life, then I urge you to. Let us build a silent forum of wisdom, where understanding reigns supreme. Until we meet again, may your ears be open and your spirit at peace.